I think the number 3
You
is
think number
partially true.
okay, let's mark it with an X, a smaller X. And then let's just do this. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. So basically, what you're saying is that 1 and 2 are more correct, and number 3 might not be so correct nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, of course, in a resume, you do have to tell the person you want to give you a job, you need to tell them who you worked for previously. You need to give them some type of information to contact that previous employer. And you do have to include personal information like your name, your address, your phone number. Um, but I think, y no estoy seguro, but I think this whole whether you're married or not is, it doesn't fly nowadays. And I think that's good. Nobody needs to know that much. Exacto, Angeli. Oh, you said that 2 minutes ago. Sorry. Okay. So basically, yes, list all your previous employers, provide references, and some personal information, but I wouldn't necessarily state whether I'm married or not. All right. So going on to table 7-9. Expressing necessity, have to, have got to, and must. Okay. Have to, have got to, and must have basically the same meaning. They express the idea that something is necessary. Okay, they express the idea that something is necessary. So in sentence A, I have a very important test tomorrow. We can say when we have to study tonight, we can use I have to, I have got to, or I must study tonight. They all work the same way. Have to is used much more frequently in everyday speech and writing than must. Okay, aquí tenemos una oración que es un poquito importante. Have to is used much more frequently in everyday speech and writing than must. Have got to is typically used in informal conversation as in sentence C. So let's take a look at B and C. B, I'd like to go with you to the movie this evening, but I can't. I have to go to a meeting. Quisiera ir para el cine contigo esta noche, pero no puedo, tengo que ir a una reunión. Yes. Sentence C, que usamos have got to. By now, I've got to go. My wife is waiting for me. I'll call you later. Okay. So have to sounds a little bit more formal, but not as informal as this one. So la C es más informal que la B, aunque las dos son informales realmente. Must is typically found in written instructions for rules, as in sentence D. Adults also use it when talking to younger children, as in E. It sounds very strong. All passengers must present their passports at customs upon arrival. So este es más oficial, es más like a written instruction. Sentence E, Tommy, you must hold on to the railing when you go down the stairs. Okay, so para que no se caiga por la escalera ese cocote. So you must hold on to the railing. So ya sabemos que el must is typically found in written instructions or rules. We have to is used more frequently in everyday speech and writing, and have got to is typically used in informal conversation. Ay, yo quisiera cambiar el color a esto. I don't think I can. Oh, God. Okay. Fine. Questions. Have to is usually used in questions, not must or have got to. Forms of do are used with have to in questions. Vamos a ver qué dice aquí. So, do we have to bring pencils to the test? So we use the have to form in questions. We don't use must or have got to with questions. So we can't say, I mean, we can say, we just don't typically say it. Must we bring pencils to the test? As a question, it doesn't really sound so nice. Si se escribe must we bring pencils. Pero entonces el have got to, en este caso, it doesn't really work. Do we have got to bring pencils to the test? A menos que le quitáramos el do y dijéramos have we got to. No, it doesn't make sense. So el have got to no funciona como pregunta para nada y el must suena más formal, más innecesario, es como vosotros. You know, we don't use that here. Okay. The past form of have got to, and must is had to. So estos tres tienen un solo past form y es had to. Okay. So es fácil usar esto en el pasado because you can condense all these three into just had to. I had to study last night. We can use, por ejemplo, el must in the past tense, pero ese tiene otra connotación. Por ejemplo, if we were to say, I must have studied last night, está diciendo como que lo está diciendo como un poquito de inseguridad. No sé si han visto una película como The Hangover, pues que se van que, they drink a lot and then they forgot what they did the previous evening. Entonces, that would be a logical moment to say, I must have studied last night. Porque, pues, si no sabes lo que hiciste anoche, then that's why you would use must like this. But really, es mucho más simple usar solamente had to y salir de eso y ya. Notice that have to, has to, and have got to are commonly reduced as an I through K. So hay maneras de decir estas tres un poquito más fácil, un poquito más rápido. So I have to, has to, and gotta. I have to go downtown today. Porque hay gente que dice I have to go downtown today. Pero typically, cuando estén hablando con alguien, you're going to hear somebody say I have to go downtown today. Es como decir, en vez de decir yo voy para allá, dirías yo voy para allá. Basically condensing the word. Rita has to go down to the bank. Wait, no tiene down. Rita has to go to the bank. You could say Rita has to go to the bank, pero has to, como hasta en español. I've got to study tonight, or I've got to study tonight. En este caso, since we're talking about everyday speech, which is informal conversation, entonces you can absolutely say have to, has to, and gotta. Okay? Okay. Let's go to exercise. ¿Cuál fue esta tabla? 7-9. Exercise 34. Este 33 lo estoy considerando para una asignación. So, le avisaré más probable el viernes si acaso lo uso. But let's go to exercise 34. Which sentence, A or B, completes the idea of a given sentence? We have lots of time. You must not drive so fast, or you don't have to drive so fast. Which sentence completes the idea of the given sentence? ¿Cuál de estas dos oraciones completa a esta? So, does A or B complete this premise? Do they both? Do neither of them complete this sentence?
Both. I think both.
I think both as well. Lo único que una es un comando, como que no guíes tan rápido, y el otro es no tienes que guiar tan rápido. So una sugerencia, and the other is a command. So yo me imagino como like maybe your parents saying, estamos de camino para un lugar. We have lots of time to arrive. You don't have to drive so fast. Pero pues en ese caso they would both work. We'll see. Um, so let's mark them both. Okay. Expressing lack of necessity with do not have to, and expressing prohibition with must not. Okay. Tengo una ganas de estornudar. Okay. Don't, he doesn't have to, expresses the idea that something is not necessary. Okay. I finished all of my homework this afternoon. I don't have to study tonight. Buena vida. Tomorrow is a holiday. Mary doesn't have to go to class. Okay. So, el don't y el doesn't se usan according to the pronoun. So, I don't, but we don't say I doesn't. El doesn't se usa pues para una tercera persona. So, if I'm talking about someone else, if I'm talking about Eli Samuel, entonces Eli Samuel doesn't have to go to class. No te vayas. I don't, you don't, he doesn't, she doesn't, they don't. Voy a poder hacer una tablita con esto. Or I could ask you guys to make it for me. It doesn't matter. So must not expresses prohibition. Do not do this. So el must not es como mencioné ahorita, es más como que a command. Te estoy diciendo que no haga esto. Bus passengers must not talk to the driver. Children, you must not play with matches. Or you must not run with scissors or play with guns. Yeah. Okay. So, como dijimos ahorita, el must se usaba more like in rules. So the rules are that you shouldn't talk to the driver. The rules, safety rules, are you shouldn't play with matches or guns or grenades. También podemos usar must con not y hacer un contraction que es mustn't. Y nota que the first T is not pronounced. So no es mustn't, que es verdad una palabra bien fea. Es mustn't. Es como si la T no estuviera ahí. You mustn't play with matches. Eso suena un poquito más fichu de lo que regularmente uno usaría en conversación regular. So you might not ever say this to anyone in your life. I don't think I ever have, hablando claro. Okay. There are two asterisks here. Pero esto es de la 33. Ok. Nada que ver. Vamos para 35. Looking at grammar. Complete the sentences with don't have to, doesn't have to, or must not. So vamos a completar estas oraciones con estas tres cositas. So we have la 1 y la 2 regalada. You must not drive when you are tired. It's dangerous. Ok, so aquí tenemos el comando de que no debes guiar cuando tienes sueño. Es peligroso. Créanme a mí. I live only a few blocks from my office. I don't have to drive to work. Eso, esto no lo hacen aquí. Okay, so I live only a few blocks from my office. Yo vivo bastante cerca de mi oficina. I don't have to drive to work. No tengo que guiar para el trabajo. En este caso usamos don't porque el pronoun es I. Y con I no usamos does. Usamos do. Por eso usamos I don't have to. En este caso no vale usar el must not porque it doesn't really make sense. I live only a few blocks from my home. I must not drive to work. A menos que sea como que una resolución de que no, yo quiero rebajar, tengo que hacer ejercicio, so no voy a usar el carro. That would be it. But anyways, so basically, si tienen duda, lean la oración completa con cada una de las tres opciones para ver si alguna de esas le da un poquito más de sentido. And take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutitos. So take 5 minutes and complete 3 through 7. Excuse me. Vengo ya mismito. Okay. Wait, hold on. No me puse el audífono. Okay. Ahora sí. Alrighty, so it's been about 5 minutes. You had to complete 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 del ejercicio 35. So, vaya, dígame. You can tell me number 3. Or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7. You can just tell me any answer. Yo lo voy colocando.
Number 3, I think, does have to.
Okay.
In
Vamos a
the
ver.
chat, en el chat dijeron does have to. Yo pensaba que era do not have to. Yeah, don't have to.
Exacto, estamos usando los negativos. So, don't have to, doesn't have to, y must not. Todos son negativos. Ok, so Alondra, me dijiste que la 3 it doesn't have to, y entonces Evangeli tiró el resto. Ok, so Liz finally got a car, so now she drives to work. She doesn't have to take the bus. Okay, that's good. Y entonces también Evangeli agrees que sería doesn't have to. That's good. Okay. Entonces, number 4, Mr. Murphy is very wealthy. He blank worked for a living. Aquí en el chat, Evangeli dice doesn't have to. Vamos a darle copy. I'll just copy from here. Hold on. Mr. Murphy is very wealthy. He doesn't have to work for a living. Buena vida. Okay. Number 5, you blank tell daddy about the birthday party. We want it to be a surprise. Evangeli dice must not. You must not tell daddy about the birthday party. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Vamos a ver. You don't have to tell daddy about the birthday party. That doesn't make sense. Neither does you doesn't have to, because that one's not grammatically correct. So must not is the best one here. Number 6, did Professor Acosta give an assignment? Yes, she assigned chapters 4 and 6, but we blank read chapter 5. Number 6, you don't have to. But we don't have to read. Don't have to read chapter 5. That's good. Y también, you could also make the argument that como son instrucciones, we must not read chapter 5. That works grammatically and that works within the context, pero me gusta más el don't have to. Okay? Porque nadie va a decirle, no, nunca lean el capítulo 5. They'll probably tell you it's, you don't have to. And finally, listen carefully, Kristen. If a stranger does you a ride, you must not get in the car. Never get in the car with a stranger. Do you understand? So, tenemos esta madre sobreprotectora, pero en verdad esto es realista. Never really get into a car with strangers, a menos que le estés pagando porque un Uber, ahí son otros 20. But anyways, so you must not drive when you are tired. You don't have to drive to work. She doesn't have to take the bus. He doesn't have to work for a living. You must not tell dad about the birthday. We don't have to read chapter 5, and you must not get in the car with a stranger. Okay, that's pretty good. Después del 35, let's go to table 710.
Profesor, una duda. Cuando tú usas does not es cuando es singular y cuando es don't have es plural.
No depende, bueno, sí depende, pero no
¿Cómo se
siempre.
escucha mejor?
Sí y no. Lo que pasa es que a veces se usa el plural. No es dependiendo del plural, es más dependiendo del pronombre. So, por ejemplo, estoy escribiendo en el chat, por si acaso no ven. Usamos I, he, she, they, we. Pues entonces, con el I usamos do. So, I do. Porque está en mayúscula. Okay. I do, he does, she does, they do, we do. Okay, so si te fijas, el I es singular y el they y el we son plural, pero usamos do en ambos de ellos.
Okay.
Si te digo exactamente por qué usamos do en vez de does, te estaría mintiendo porque realmente estas reglas se establecieron hace como 500 años. And, like, el inglés toma muchas palabras y muchas reglas gramaticales de otros idiomas. So, realmente puede ser que no haya una explicación mejor que do es germánico y does viene de, like, let's say, un lenguaje nórdico o algo así. And maybe that's why they're different. Pero realmente en estos casos es más fácil recordar que he o she usan does y I, they y we usamos do. Porque pues si vamos a enterarnos exactamente de por qué, de dónde viene, pues estaríamos un poquito más sobreanalizando las cosas.
Okay, gracias.
You got it. Exercise 36, el próximo. Sí, exacto. Read the situation and the conclusions that follow. Which conclusion or conclusions seem logical to you? Explain your answers if necessary. Okay, vamos a rajar la papeleta, espérate. Ahora sí. So, Mr. Ellis is a high school gym teacher. He usually wears gym clothes to work. Today he is wearing a suit and tie. Okay, so we can assume that Mr. Ellis, he must have an important meeting, he must be rich, he must need new clothes, he must want to make a good impression on someone, or his gym clothes must not be clean. Si viene el profesor o el maestro de educación física enchaquetado, how can we justify that? ¿Con qué lo justificamos?
He must have an important meeting.
Okay, he must have an important meeting. ¿Sería este el único o, I mean, honestamente, si yo me pego en la loto, yo también estaría enchaquetado, like every day. Ahora, si no tienes más ropa y necesitas comprar ropa nueva, do you just te vas engabanado to work? I don't think so. You could also want to make a good impression on someone, que para mí sería la 4 bastante factible. And his gym clothes must not be clean. That makes sense too. I don't know what you guys think. Should I mark 5? Should I mark 3? Should I unmark 4? Sushi. Okay. So, entonces con el silencio interpreto que these are okay, and we can continue to the next part. So, la próxima es la tabla 711. Yeah. Making logical conclusions using must. Vamos a usar el highlighter. Okay. Okay, tenemos esta premisa. Nancy is yawning. She must be sleepy. Que de hecho yo no sé por qué aquí, if you're yawning, oh God, la cámara. Okay. I don't know why aquí en Puerto Rico, if somebody sees you yawning, ellos piensan que tiene hambre. I don't know esa lógica. So in sentence A, speaker B is making a logical guess. He bases his guess on the information that Nancy is yawning. His logical conclusion, or his best guess, is that Nancy is sleepy. He uses must to express his logical conclusion. So en este caso, no está diciendo que ella tiene que tener sueño porque él lo dice, sino que usando la lógica de que, ay, está bostezando, so debería tener sueño. It's more of like una adivinanza or his best guess, o una conclusión lógica. Lógica. Okay. So let's compare. Must can express either a logical conclusion or a necessity. Y tenemos un ejemplo de cada uno en B y en C. In logical conclusion, Amy plays tennis every day. She must like to play tennis. Yes. Obviamente, pues si alguien está jugando tenis o baloncesto o lo que sea todos los días, pues uno puede asumir que debería gustarle el deporte. En este caso usamos must like como una conclusión lógica. Ahora, necessity, que es un cognate de necesidad. If you want to get into the movie theater, you must buy a ticket. ¿Ok? No es como en Western Plaza que uno dice, yo voy para el baño y después you can sneak in. Don't do that, that's illegal. If you want to get into the movie theater, you must buy a ticket. En este caso, pues es necesidad de comprar un boleto para cualquier tanda. And en este caso es conclusión lógica de que she must like to play tennis. Okay? So must can express a logical conclusion or necessity. Okay? We can also express con must not a negative logical conclusion or prohibition. So, vamos a marcarlo aquí. También tenemos una conclusión lógica negativa o prohibimos algo. So, una conclusión lógica negativa. Eric ate everything on his plate except the pickle. He must not like pickles. En este caso, vemos que Eric tiene toda la razón. Pickles are disgusting and he did well. So, en el caso de que tiene un plato de comida lleno y dejaste una sola cosa, pues uno puede sobreentender que no te gusta esa cosa. So, that would be a negative logical conclusion. Okay? Prohibition. There are sharks in the ocean near our hotel. We must not go swimming there. Okay, así que estamos prohibiéndonos ir a nadar en esa playa because está infestada con tiburones. So we must not go swimming there. So must en positivo can have a logical conclusion or a necessity, y must not puede ser una conclusión negativa lógica y una prohibición, like basically una regla o un comando. Okay? Estamos en la 7:11. Okay, let's go to example 37. Complete the conversations with must or must not. Aquí dice A and B. So estas son conversaciones. Did you offer our guests something to eat? Yes, but they didn't want anything. They must not be hungry yet. Okay, pudiéramos cambiar esto si, por ejemplo, el amigo mío Fernando está cocinando, entonces deben decir, they must not like Fernando's cooking, for example. En este caso, usamos must not en vez de... bueno, perdóname. Must o must not son las únicas opciones. So, vamos a ver si hay una conclusión lógica, una necesidad, una conclusión lógica negativa o una prohibición. Number 2. You haven't eaten since breakfast. That was hours ago. You must be hungry. I am. En este caso usamos must en vez de must not porque estamos asumiendo que la persona tiene hambre porque ha pasado mucho tiempo desde que comió. En otro contexto de la oración se pudiera usar quizás el must not, pero vamos a dejarlo así como está. And tienen la 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 y 8. Son 6. Son las 8 y 9. Vamos a darle un par de minutitos en lo que terminan la 3, la 4, 5, 6, 7 y 8. And I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back. Con un par de mordillas y guayazo. Gracias, Sushi. Muchas veces cuando digo, like, I'll be back in a few minutes, that's what I do. I just go play with the cat for a minute. So, all right. So tenemos la 3, la 4, 5, 6, 7 y la 8. If anybody wants to go ahead and tell me some answers, that would be nice. Ok, ya veo que Kenneth y Evangeli tiraron unas cuantas. So Kenneth, la 3 must. Gregory has already had 4 glasses of water and now he's having another. He must be really thirsty. I wonder why. Ok. Entonces, en la 4, ok. Evangeli, Kenneth y Josian tienen must not. Exacto, en la 4. Y Sushi se fue. Ok. Déjame volver a mí con la otra cámara. Así que ahorita cuando estaba hablando tenía la cámara bloqueada y nadie me dijo nada. Ay, Dios mío. Hoy sí que me ha pasado dos o tres cosas. So, yeah, me fui sin querer. I'm back now. You should be able to hear me. No sé si... no estoy presentando ahora. Okay. Okay, you should be able to see everything. Okay, so me quedé... Ok, como me salí del mic un segundito sin querer, pues ya no veo los comentarios que dejaron Evangeli and Josian. Gracias, Evangeli. Wait, ¿quién le pegó? Vamos a marcarlo presente. Okay, so Evangeli, la 4. Must not. I offered Holly something to drink, but she doesn't want anything. She must not be thirsty. That's good. Must. The dog won't eat. He must not feel well. Brian has watery eyes and has been coughing and sneezing. Poor guy, he might have a cold. So he must have a cold, sería la 6. Erica's really smart. She always gets above 95% of the math tests. I'm sure she's pretty bright, but she blank also studied a lot. Básicamente la 7 y la 8 dice que must. She must study a lot. Listen, someone is jumping on the floor above us. It must be Sam. Sometimes he does exercise in his apartment. Okay. So tenemos, they must not be hungry. You must be hungry. He must be thirsty. He must not be thirsty. He must not feel well. He must have a cold. She must study a lot. It must be Sam. Okay. Después del 37, tenemos el 28, pero más bien por ahí. Bueno, no queda tiempo. So, ya sé que nos quedamos en el 28 con ustedes. Ok. So, ya con el tiempo que nos queda, podemos dejarlo ahí en vez de empezar en el cuando más tiempo. So, ¿hay alguna duda que tengan con algunos de estos temas? ¿Alguna duda que tengan con el quiz, la novela? Esta semana voy a terminar de hacer el examen 3, que sería su examen parcial final. Además de eso, pues estoy bregando también el final, que va a ser departamental. Todavía no estoy seguro de cuál es el protocolo. Cuando tenga
algo más concreto, pues se lo dejaré saber. Ahora mismo, pues, por ahora, pues yo pues, tengo una idea de las premisas que estoy haciendo, pero pues es departamental, eso significa que otros profesores de inglés también pueden poner sus premisas, pueden poner sus preguntas, pueden hablar sobre alguna cosa. So, pues todavía no puedo decirle que viene ese examen, pero yo sé que estoy bregando con el tercero de ustedes, y pues no va a ser muy difícil. Pero nada, por ahora estamos ready. Recuerden seguir leyendo la novela y pendiente a Canvas por si acaso. Guys, I want you guys to have a nice day. Se me cuidan. Si acaso llegaron tarde, me dejan saber. Yo sé que Ken llega un poquito más tarde, ya lo marqué. Tengo Kenneth, Josian, Eli Samuel, Evangelí, Alondra y Armando. Okay, guys, so that should be it for today. Have a nice day. Okay, Alondra, cuídate. Buen día, Kenneth.